The Galactic Council chamber was filled with light, but the mood was dark. 40 alien leaders from across the galaxy sat in a large circle. Their eyes were cold, their minds full of plans. A door opened. A human stepped inside. Alone, calm, silent. Some council members raised their heads. Others didn't even look. "That's the human," whispered Grand Admiral Rax, his scales flashing green. "Yes," replied Senator Moulter of the Cravian people. One man, no guards, no fear. They laughed. Loudly, the human stopped in the center of the chamber. His name was Elias Stone. Tall, clean uniform, no weapon. "Welcome, Earth representative," said the council president. His voice was smooth, but his eyes were sharp. "Do you come in peace?" Elias looked around. "We always came in peace." A few counselors smirked. "You say that now," Rax sneered. "But your species grows too fast, too strong. Your weapons, your machines," Moulter leaned forward. "Your kind is a risk to balance." Elias didn't blink. "Earth asked to join the council peacefully. You delayed it. You lied. You stole data from our science teams." The room went quiet for a second, then the laughter returned. "Earth has no place in galactic leadership," said another. "You are too new, too emotional, too dangerous." Elias stepped closer. "You speak of danger," he said slowly. "But it's not Earth who fears the truth. And what truth is that?" asked Rax. Elias smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "You already made your decision. You plan to control Earth. Use treaties, threats, maybe war." Gasps filled the room. "Nonsense." Someone shouted, "Careful with your words," warned another. Elias raised one hand. "We don't come to fight. We come to grow together, but if you choose fire..." He looked at each counselor in the eye. "Then don't be surprised when the fire comes for you." The chamber fell silent. "You dare threaten us?" Moulter stood up. "I'm not threatening," Elias said, turning to walk away. "I'm warning." He stepped out of the chamber. The doors closed behind him with a deep clang dot inside. The council broke into angry chatter. "Who does he think he is? Human arrogance. Send a message to Earth. Tell them we are watching." But they never understood what they had just done. They had made their final mistake. Back on Earth, Elias sat alone in his office. A small light blinked on his desk. He pressed a button. "Did they believe you?" a voice asked through the speaker. Elias shook his head. "They laughed. Then it begins." He didn't reply. He only stared out the window where Earth's largest shipyard floated in orbit. 100 ships. Silent. Ready. On the council side, they wasted no time. They froze Earth's trade, blocked its scientists, and surrounded neutral systems near human space. They called it security. Earth called it what it was, war preparation. But the council still didn't attack. They wanted Earth to beg. Instead, Earth stayed quiet. Too quiet. 1 week later, a council scout ship went missing near the edge of the Sol system. The signal was clean. No damage. Just ... silence. Then another ship vanished. And another. The council ordered a full scan of human space. Their best stealth ships were sent in. None returned. Panic began to grow. "Perhaps we underestimated them," said a counselor. "No," said Rax. "They are bluffing. They're hiding something. Then we strike first." As the council prepared for war, Earth did not move. No ships sent out. No threats made. Nothing. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. On the planet Pharian, a defense network went offline for 12 hours. No sign of hacking. No damage. On Cravian Prime, one of their largest data cores exploded not from outside, but from a virus hidden deep inside the system. A virus with Earth's code. On Glinter, a secret council base was found completely empty. No bodies, no gunfire. Just gone. Burned into the wall were 2 words: "We warned." The council called an emergency meeting. This time, no one laughed. "They are attacking without attacking," screamed Mulder. "This is psychological warfare," said another. "They want us scared." "It's working," whispered someone. "President." Aram slammed his hand on the table. "Enough! We are the Council. We lead the galaxy." But behind his voice, fear had already begun to grow. On Earth, Elias walked into a dark room. Inside sat 20 humans. Some were generals. Some were scientists. Some wore no uniforms at all. "The Council is beginning to understand," said a woman at the head of the table. Elias nodded. "But they still believe they have time." A hologram lit up the room. It showed a list of planets. Council worlds dot beside. Each one was a timer. The countdown had already started. The Council finally decided to send a warning of their own. A fleet of ships moved toward Mars, Earth's colony. They didn't plan to destroy it, only scare it. But as they reached orbit, something strange happened. All their systems shut down. Every ship, engines, lights, weapons dashed dead dot from behind Mars. Something moved, massive, black, silent, a human warship. Bigger than anything the Council had ever seen. No shots fired. Just one message sent to every ship. "This is your last chance." The fleet limped back home in silence. Now the Council was afraid. They tried to reach Elias again. Send peace offers, talks, delays. But Earth did not answer. Elias had already left the galaxy's center. No one knew where he went. Then one night, Council world Kelroth lost all power. 5 minutes later, the sky burned. Energy beams from nowhere. No warning. In 1 hour, half the planet was ash. A single satellite survived. It broadcasted one message to the rest of the galaxy. No battle cry, no farewell. The Council collapsed into chaos. Worlds closed their borders. Leaders went into hiding. Some tried to escape the galaxy itself. But Earth didn't hunt them. They just let the silence speak. One last meeting was held. The Council president stood before the few remaining members. "We were wrong," he said. "We saw Earth as a threat because we feared their change." A young alien asked, "Can we still fix it?" The president shook his head. "It's too late." Then, one final message came through. It was from Elias. He stood in front of a burning sky. His face calm. "We came to build. You tried to break us, but we warned you." The screen went black. Elias never returned to Earth. No one knows where he went. Some say he watches from far away, making sure peace stays. Others believe he was never just human. What's clear is this: the Council is no more. Earth didn't take their place. They didn't need to, because from now on, every species remembered the one truth burned into the stars. Silence can be louder than war. The stars above Earth sparkled quietly. To the Council, the planet looked peaceful, normal, almost too normal. But they didn't know what hid beneath the silence. For years, Earth had been watching, listening, preparing. It began after their first Council meeting, long before Elias Stone walked into the chamber with his cold warning. That meeting had made Earth understand something deep and dangerous. The Council didn't want peace. They wanted control. And Earth refused to be controlled. In a dark room under London's surface, a man in a black coat stood before a wall of glowing screens. His name was Rael Anders, commander of Earth's cyber division. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a diplomat. But his work could bring down worlds. One of the screens blinked. "New signal," said a voice from the back. Rael turned. "Origin? Council relay. Deep space. Hidden frequency." "Another probe?" Rael asked. The young officer nodded. "Just like last time, they're scanning us again." Rael didn't speak. He simply stared at the screen and then gave a quiet order. "Activate Layer 7. The officer's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" Rael nodded. "They've crossed the line." Across Earth, satellites shifted position. Some were invisible to the eye. Others hid behind asteroids or floated in the shadows of moons. They woke up one by one like sleeping hunters, opening their eyes. In less than a minute, the Council's probe was gone, not exploded, not hacked, just vanished from the system. But the Council didn't know it yet. That was the beauty of Earth's new power. They didn't need to make noise. They had built a silent network back in the Council's main station, deep in orbit above the planet Vorthus. Engineers stared at a black screen. "It's gone," whispered one. "What do you mean it's gone?" asked his superior. "The probe. It just stopped responding." "Could be a storm," another said. "There was no storm," the engineer replied. "It was clean data, then nothing." They tried to send more probes. All lost. Council generals grew nervous. Some said Earth had secret weapons. Others laughed and blamed system errors. But one quiet voice, an old scientist named Tenlor, said something different. "Maybe we never saw their real strength. Maybe the humans are not loud, but deep." No one listened to him. On the dark side of the moon Titan, far from Earth, a small hidden base hummed quietly. Inside it were machines never shown to the Council. Machines built by human hands and trained by human minds. At the center stood a tall woman in a gray suit. Her name was Kira Voss. She wasn't military. She wasn't political. She was something else, something the Council didn't believe humans had yet. "Spy Master, give me update on Council data intercepts," she ordered. One of her agents responded. "We've broken 6 more languages, intercepted 17 new plans. And the Vault project?" The agent tapped a screen. "Ready. The AI can now mimic 5 Council command voices. If we speak, their systems will believe it's one of them." Kira smiled faintly. "And what about the Council's hidden weapons?" "They call them the Pillars, supposed to be their final defense." Kira leaned in. "Where are they?" The agent hesitated. "We found them last night, all 5. "Good." Kira whispered. "Tag them. Don't touch. Not yet." The Council had ruled the galaxy for centuries. They believed no one could match them. Not in power, not in knowledge, but Earth didn't try to match them. Earth built something new. Instead of fighting head-on, they built eyes in every corner of space. AI-driven satellites. Undercover humans trained to look, sound, and think like aliens. Deep space beacons disguised as rocks. Code that could speak every Council tongue. And they shared none of it. Not even with their own citizens. It was a ghost network. So silent, even Earth's own enemies couldn't find it. One night on a Council world named Delvana, a military officer found something strange. "General," he said, handing a small metal box to his superior. "This was found under our main relay tower." The general turned the device in his hand. "What is it?" "We don't know." "It's not from our tech." "Who built it?" "Humans, we think." The general frowned. "How long has it been?" "Here, maybe years." The general crushed the box under his foot. Sparks flew. Smoke rose. "We never speak of this again." But it was too late. The device had already sent its data. Back on Earth, Rail Anders watched as new information filled the screens. They found Device 14. An agent said. "Expected," Rail replied. "Should we activate the echo?" Rail didn't answer right away. Instead, he stared at the screen where a map of the galaxy was slowly turning red. "Not yet. Let them think they are still in control." Then came the twist no one expected. A Council world named Therax is suddenly shut down. All communications, entire cities went dark. No power, no messages, just silence. The Council panicked. "Has Earth attacked?" Someone shouted. "No signs of ships," said another. "They're hacking us. Call emergency meeting." But when the Council scanned the systems, they found something terrifying. A small AI virus, just 64 lines of code had entered there. Power grid. It didn't destroy. It didn't take over. It simply listened. For 5 years. It had lived inside the system. Recording, Learning. Now. When the council tried to reboot, the virus locked them out. One command flashed on the screen. Do you hear us now? In her Titan base, Kira Voss read the report and sipped her tea. They're finally paying attention, she said. The agent beside her nodded. Are we ready for full exposure? Kira thought for a moment. Not yet. We'll show them only what they need to see. But what if they strike first? The agent asked. They won't, she said calmly. They don't even know who to strike. The council tried to respond. They sent fleets toward the edge of Earth space. Tried to scan, to warn, to flex their muscles. But Earth's ships didn't move. No weapons fired. Nothing changed. And yet, every time the council moved, something broke. A ship lost power. A code failed. A commander disappeared. All without a sound. Finally, the council decided to go after one of Earth's outer colonies. A soft target. Easy to scare. They sent a fleet of 20 ships toward the colony, New Dresden. But just before they entered orbit, every ship's engine failed. A single message appeared on their screens. Step back. No ships were seen. No attacks happened. But the message came through their own encrypted systems. Impossible. Unless someone knew their codes. Someone had been listening. Watching. Inside. The Jew council was broken. Fear replaced pride. Meetings grew louder. Accusations flew. Some blamed spies. Others called for war. But no one knew who to fight, because Earth wasn't fighting. They were just watching. Elias Stone returned to Earth quietly. No parade. No announcement. He walked through a secret base where Rael and Kira waited. The network is stable, Rael said. We're inside 80% of council systems, Kira nodded. They know. We exist now, but they don't know how big we are. Elias looked at a dark screen showing the galaxy map. So many red marks. So many eyes. They ignored our warning, he said. They thought silence was weakness, Kira spoke softly. They still don't understand. Elias looked out the window. They will. The council world of Gorion was known for one thing: its defenses. It was a fortress planet. 5 shield layers. 10 orbiting gun platforms. 30 defense towers on the surface. No one has ever broken through Gorion, said General Harvek. Proudly, not even close. That was true. Until the night the sky burned. The day had started normally. Markets were busy. Children played under the silver moons. Council officers ran patrols. Then, just after midnight, something strange happened. The stars above Gorion blinked. Not one or two but dozens. A security operator named Jaren noticed. At first, "Sir," he said, turning to his supervisor, "something's wrong with the sensor grid." "What do you mean?" The supervisor asked, annoyed. "The stars, they're moving." The supervisor laughed. Probably a glitch. But Jaren didn't laugh. He zoomed in. The blinking lights weren't stars. They were ships. Human ships. And they were already above Gorion. Alarms screamed. Defense systems activated. Towers powered up. Satellites aimed their weapons. But nothing fired. The control rooms were locked out. Every single terminal flashed the same message. Do not respond. This is your warning. In the council command tower, General Harvek stood in shock, his face pale, his hands shaking. Where did they come from? He asked. No signal, no hyperspace signature, said an officer. It's like they were already here. Then fire manually. We can't. Systems are offline. Harvek shouted. Override them. We tried, the officer whispered. They're in the system. Who? The officer looked up. Humans. The ships above Gorion didn't shoot. They didn't move. They simply hovered in the sky, quiet, dark and terrifying. People stared from the streets below. Some prayed, some ran, some simply froze. And then they left. No shots fired. No damage done, But their message was clear. Earth had reached even the safest council world, and they could have destroyed it. But they didn't single quotes T. Not yet. The council met an emergency session the next day. The Gorian incident had shaken them. This was not a mistake, said President Aram. It was a demonstration. Why didn't they attack? Asked Rax, still angry. Why show us and then leave? Because they're not playing our game, replied Moltor. They are writing a new one. We must strike back, said another. We cannot let this stand. But they didn't know where to strike. Earth had not claimed responsibility. There were no public threats. No demands. Only silence and a shadow. 3 days later, Gorian went dark. No alarm. No battle. One moment, the planet was alive, cities glowing, ships flying, people working. The next moment, everything stopped. From the outside, the planet looked fine. From the inside, there was only death. A council recovery team arrived 40 minutes later. What they found shocked even the strongest soldiers. No fires. No bomb damage. No destroyed buildings. But every person, every life was gone. Clean. Precise. Erased. On the central square of Gorian's capital, carved into the marble with heat, were 2 words. First flame. News spread across the galaxy like fire itself. Council tried to hide it at first, but footage leaked. Whispers became panic. If Earth could do this to Gorian, what could they do to any world? The Council had thought Earth was still catching up. Now they realized Earth had passed them long ago, and waited. In silence. Back on Earth, Elias Stone watched the footage in a quiet room. Behind him stood Rael Anders and Kira Voss. Was it too much? Rael asked. No, Elias said. It was just enough. Kira nodded. They know we can burn them. But we didn't destroy the city. Only the systems. The people were not killed. We moved them. Rael added. They're safe, hidden. We had to make the council think we killed them. Elias said nothing for a moment. Fear works faster than war. At council headquarters, a deep fear had taken root. The council had ruled for so long. They forgot what it meant to be afraid. Now they feared everything. We must find the humans hiding among us, said Rax. They're everywhere, someone whispered. No one can be trusted. They're listening, watching. They might be in this room. The chamber fell into silence. For the first time in council history, they felt hunted. On the planet Trizon, an alien scientist named Urin discovered something shocking. He worked in deep code analysis. He had been looking through old ship data logs from 5 years ago, and he found something strange. A file buried so deep, no one had ever opened it. Inside was a message, a human voice. We are patient. But we are not blind. It was dated 3 years before the first council meeting with Earth. Uren sat back, stunned. They were already here, he whispered. They were planning this. Long before we saw it coming. Council leaders grew paranoid. They started spying on their own people. Council worlds began to lock down. Allies turned against each other. And still, Earth said nothing. No more ships appeared. No messages were sent. Just the silence and the memory of Gorian's death. Meanwhile, the people taken from Gorian woke up. They were not dead. They were safe. In a human-controlled space habitat, floating far outside council reach. Doctors treated them. Food was provided. Rooms were warm and calm. A Gorian woman named Lessa looked at the human doctor and asked, "Why didn't you kill us?" The doctor smiled softly. "We're not here to kill the innocent. We're here to show the guilty what we're capable of." But why take us? Because if the council didn't fear loss, they would never learn. One by one, survivors of Gorian were told the truth, and many of them began to understand. The council had made too many enemies. Earth was just the first brave enough to stand up. And now, the galaxy was watching. Elias met with the survivor leaders through a secure channel. "I'm sorry we had to scare you," he said. But we had to make your leaders listen. Lessa stepped forward. You're not what they say you are. No, Ilias replied. We are worse to those who don't listen. But better, Lessa said, to those who do. After the fall of Gorion, silence spread like a virus through the council. Even the bravest leaders now spoke in whispers. No one mentioned Earth without looking over their shoulder. And still, Earth said nothing. No more ships. No more messages. No demands. Just silence. Except for one thing, a human remained behind. His name was Lieutenant Callan Rhodes. He didn't hide. He didn't run. He walked freely through the council city of Yantara, wearing Earth's colors on his coat. Some aliens stared in fear. Others spit on the ground as he passed, but no one touched him, because nobody understood why he stayed. He must be a spy, said Consul Admiral Vrek during an emergency session. No one stays behind by accident. Then why hasn't Earth rescued him? Asked another. Maybe he's a signal, whispered someone else. They all looked at each other. What if this human was more dangerous, not doing anything? Callan lived in a small room at the edge of the city. No security, no weapons, no guards. He cooked his own food. Bought supplies with Earth credits. Said hello to shopkeepers. And every night, at exactly the same time, he sat on a bench in the public park and stared at the stars. Why is he here? People asked. Even the children whispered. That's the man who didn't leave. One evening, 2 council agents watched him from the shadows. He just sits there, the first one said. He's doing nothing. It's creepy. We should question him. No, orders are to observe, nothing more. They watched as Callan leaned back on the bench, arms behind his head. Then suddenly, he turned and looked straight at them. A calm smile on his face. The agents froze. He couldn't have seen them. But somehow, he did. The next day, Callan received a formal request to appear before the Council's intelligence office. He arrived on time, wearing a simple Earth jacket. Do you know why you're here? Asked Director Linver, a tall insect-like alien with black glass eyes. No, Callan replied. You are the only human in Council space, she said. Your people have destroyed our outer defenses. Gorion has fallen. Our systems are failing. You are not safe here. Callan nodded slowly. I know. Then why stay? He looked around the room, then back at her, to see who you really are when you're afraid. Linver stared at him. Are you threatening us? No, I don't need to, Callan said quietly. She leaned forward. Are you alone? Callan gave a small smile. That's the wrong question, Linver frowned. Then what is the right one? He leaned in. What happens when I'm gone? The next day, Council sensors picked up a strange pulse, just one beat. Like a heart. It came from inside the city. Inside the Council network. It was not a weapon. Not a virus. It was a signal. In their war chamber. Leaders panicked. He's a beacon. He's marked us. We have to detain him now. But others hesitated. What if that's what Earth wants? What if hurting him activates something worse? And still, Callan did nothing. He sat in the park, walked through the market, even fed birds in the square. But his biochip, every human has one, was now flashing. Earth would see it, and Earth would act. Late that night, Callan was followed by 3 silent figures. Council operatives. They had orders. Capture, not kill. He turned down an alley. They followed. But when they turned the corner, Callan was gone. Only his coat lay on the ground. His biochip had stopped. All across Council systems. Lights flickered. Computers shut down. Codes began rewriting themselves. Satellites turned toward Earth's territory on their own. The silent network had awakened. What happened? Shouted Admiral Vrek. His chip's offline, a technician screamed. They think he's dead. Can we block it? No, it's everywhere. They've already taken control of our satellites. Where? Did they even install this? A quiet voice answered from the corner. They didn't need to. It was always there. It was Linver. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes wide. I checked his records. That man Callan wasn't a soldier. He was an engineer. A systems builder. He helped build part of our new council database 3 years ago. They stared at her. You mean, she nodded. We let the weapon in ourselves. Across 10 council worlds, strange things began to happen. Traffic systems reversed. Bank accounts were emptied. Government files were erased. Defense systems refused to launch. Ships didn't obey commands. A single word appeared on every screen. Observed. The council had made a mistake. They watched the human who stayed, but never asked what he left behind. 1 week later, a human message was broadcast galaxy-wide. A video. It showed Callan Rhodes sitting in a bright room, alive and calm. Behind him was a screen showing council cities, council ships, and council command centers all blinking red. I stayed, he said softly, because you needed a final warning. You called us dangerous, aggressive, wild. Maybe you're right. But remember, we offered peace, and you laughed. He leaned closer. Now you will learn to listen in silence. The screen went dark. Earth hadn't destroyed anything yet, but now they didn't need to, because the council had lost the one thing they could never win back: control. The council's outer shield worlds were supposed to be their greatest defense. Strong walls, fleets of warships, and powerful energy shields surrounded them like a fortress. These worlds stood between Earth and the heart of the council. If these shields fell, everything would be lost. General Vrek stood on the bridge of the flagship Sentinel. His eyes scanned the starfield beyond the viewport. Our sensors show no Earth activity, he said calmly. No fleets, no signals. They must be hiding. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Marn, frowned. But our systems keep failing, sir. Communications are lagging. Weapons are going offline. Technical problems. Nothing more, Vrek answered. Suddenly, alarms blared. Sir. Multiple defense towers lost power. Shouted the weapons officer. Report. Vrek demanded. Shields on planet Elver are weakening. No explanation. Send drones to investigate. At the same time, deep inside the control room of Elver, a young technician named Ral was trying to fix the failing systems. Why now? He muttered. Everything was fine yesterday. He checked the control panel again. Suddenly, the screen flickered and changed. A simple message appeared. Step back or suffer the consequences. Ral's heart pounded. He tried to override the system but failed. Then the lights went out. On the bridge of the Sentinel, Vrek watched. The screen in shock. Impossible, he said. How did they get into our systems? We have the strongest firewalls. Marn bit her lip. Maybe Earth's silent network isn't so silent. Then we must hit them first. Vrek growled. He ordered the fleet to prepare for attack. But Earth did not attack. Instead, strange things happened. Ships' engines shut down in the middle of space. Weapon systems fired randomly, then stopped. Communications were filled with static on the planet Vorath. Defense towers locked their own gates. Back on Earth, Elias Stone watched reports coming in. They're trying to fight, said Raylanders. They can't, Elias replied. They don't know the battlefield. Kira Voss leaned forward. Their systems are turning against them, Elias nodded. Our network is inside their minds now. In council war rooms, panic spread. Ships are turning off, shouted an officer. We're losing control. Send emergency teams. Another yelled, but teams were stopped by locked doors. No one can reach the towers. A voice said. They're controlled remotely, Marn whispered. On Elver, Ral looked outside. Dark shapes moved silently above the planet. No ships fired. No explosions. But slowly, the shields fell. One by one. In orbit, the Sentinel was drifting. Engines dead. Vrek stared in disbelief. How did they do this? Cyber warfare, Marn said. They attack the network, not the ships. Then we fight on land. But even on the surface, soldiers found themselves trapped, communications jammed, weapons frozen. A council commander screamed, "We are prisoners in our own forts." Meanwhile, human agents worked unseen. In a hidden base, Kira Voss gave orders. Cut their power, but keep them alive. Rael nodded. They'll surrender without a fight. Elias watched the star map. Shield worlds falling like dominoes. We warned them, he said quietly. On one shield world, a council general tried to send a final message. This is a message to the council. Earth has us surrounded. Surrender now. No answer came, only silence. The council fleet retreated. Their greatest defenses were broken, and Earth did not fire a single shot. In the silence, one thing was clear. The battle had already been won. Without blood, without cries, without a single farewell. The council's great hall was filled with uneasy silence. Leaders from across the galaxy sat in their seats, eyes wide, hands clenched. They were waiting for answers. The question hanging heavy in the air was simple but terrifying. Why didn't they speak? President Hiram stood at the podium, face pale. We sent messages. We sent warnings. We made demands. He paused, looking around the room, and still, Earth said nothing. A voice from the back whispered, "Were they even listening?" Aram's eyes flashed. They were listening. They always listen. In a dark room on Earth, Elias Stone sat quietly. Rael Anders and Kira Voss stood beside him. "We didn't speak," Elias said softly. "Not because we don't want peace." Rael asked, "Then why stay silent?" Elias looked up. "Because speaking is easy." He smiled faintly. "But silence is power." Back in the council hall, Senator Moulter slammed his fist. They mocked. "US with their silence. Is that all?" another asked. They never spoke a word during peace talks. A young counselor stood. "Maybe they spoke in ways we never understood." In a hidden lab on Earth, Kira studied ancient council codes. They use sound, words, voice. That's their power. She pressed a button, and a strange pattern appeared on the screen. But what if there's a language beyond voice? Rael leaned over. Something deeper, hidden. The council sent probes to Earth's surface, trying to catch any signal. Radio, light, energy pulses. Nothing. Not a single word. One night, on the council world Vorthas, a scientist named Tenlor made a discovery. He was watching Earth's orbit when a small satellite blinked on and off. But the pattern wasn't words. It was pulses. Silent. Fast, almost invisible. "They are sending messages," Tenlor told the council. But no words. The council was confused. How do you communicate without words? Moulter said bitterly, "Maybe Earth doesn't want to communicate. Or worse, they communicate in ways we can't hear." On Earth, Elias explained, "Our minds are connected in ways you don't expect." Kira smiled. "We use thought, feeling, patterns." Rael added, "We built a network that speaks without noise." Elias sighed. "It's silent, invisible." The council tried harder. They sent soldiers to listen to vibrations in the atmosphere. They built machines to catch tiny changes in magnetic fields. Still, silence. Then came the twist. A council spy named Yiren managed to hack into Earth's network. Found files, but they weren't language. They were emotions. Images. Memories. He looked deeper. He found a recording. A woman's voice, soft and calm, but it was not spoken. It was felt. Yiren showed the council leaders. "This is their message." The room fell silent. The woman appeared on the holoscreen. She did not speak words. She showed a vision of Earth. Of pain. Of hope. Of warning. Of peace. Aram asked, "What does it mean?" Yiren said, "They want us to feel it, not hear it." Moulter shook his head. "That's weakness." But others felt something change. On Earth, Kira said, "They rejected words because words can lie." Rael nodded. "Silence is truth." Elias looked at the stars. We speak without sound. We listen without ears. The council held a secret meeting. We must learn this language, Aram said. We must speak beyond words. But no one knew. Meanwhile, on a small moon, Callan Rhodes watched. He smiled. They don't understand the silence. Then, suddenly, a council world went dark. No lights. No noise. Only a single message appeared on every screen. We spoke. You didn't listen. The council knew the truth. Silence was not absence. It was communication. And they had failed to hear it. In that silence, Earth's power grew. Stronger than any fleet. Stronger than any weapon. Why didn't they speak? The question was answered. At last. Because sometimes the loudest message is the one never spoken. The council homeworld Viridra was the heart of the galaxy's greatest empire. Its spires reached the clouds. Its armies ruled the stars. Its people believed themselves invincible. But that night, everything changed. In the Grand Command Hall, President Aram paced nervously. Reports say Earth's silent network is inside every system, he said, voice low. General Vrek leaned forward. Their power is beyond ships or guns. It's inside us. Aram clenched his fists. We must protect the core. If Viridra falls, the council falls. Above Viridra, the sky was dark, pierced only by the shining stars and the glowing city below. Suddenly, the lights flickered. One tower, then another. Alarms sounded. Energy shields failing. Shouted a technician. Sir. Sensors show breaches in the main data grid. Reported an officer. In a secret bunker beneath the city. Kira Voss stood with Elias Stone and Rael Anders. The council thinks we will attack with weapons, Kira said, but we have something better. Rael pointed to a map. Our silent network is ready to strike. Elias smiled coldly. Tonight, the heart of the Empire will burn. On the city streets, citizens looked up at the sky. Is it a drill? A woman asked. No one knows. A man answered. Suddenly, all screens went black. The city was plunged into darkness. Out in the command hall, panic spread. Restore power. Aram ordered, but nothing worked. Systems are offline across the planet. Vrek shouted. Communications are dead. Far below, in the data center, a faint light blinked. Ral, the technician from Elver, now working with Earth, smiled. Time to finish this. He typed quickly. Suddenly, all over Viridra, screens lit up. A single message appeared. Glowing red. The silence was your mistake. The council leaders were trapped. Powerless. Watching as their defenses crumbled without a shot fired. Aram stood, voice shaking. How can this be? Kira's voice came over a secure channel. We never fired a weapon, Rael added. We attacked your systems. Your pride. Your control. Outside, fires began to burn. Power plants exploded. Robots and automated defenses turned against their masters. In the streets, chaos erupted. People ran screaming. Soldiers tried to restore order but failed. Their weapons jammed, their radios silent. On the command bridge, General Vrek looked around. Is this the end? Arim nodded slowly. We lost control. Meanwhile, in a quiet room, Callan Rhodes watched. This is what happens when you ignore silence, he said softly. The council homeworld burned that night. Not by bullets or bombs, but by the weapon they never saw coming. The next day, across the galaxy, the news spread. The mighty council was vulnerable. The silent power of Earth had broken their heart, and still, Earth spoke no words. Only silence. The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. The mighty council no longer ruled from the shadows. Their homeworld lay in ruins, their fleets scattered, and Earth stood tall, not with weapons blazing, but with silence. In a small room on Earth, Elias Stone sat alone. The weight of victory pressed on him. Rael Anders entered quietly. We have done what no one thought possible, Rael said softly. But what now? Elias looked up. Now, he said, we listen. Across the stars, Council survivors met. In secret, fear filled their faces. "We lost everything," whispered one leader. "Earth did not destroy us with fire or steel," said another, "but with something worse, silence and control." On a distant moon, Kira Voss watched the Council's broken fleets. "They are defeated," she said, "but not destroyed." Rael frowned. "What do you mean?" Kira's eyes were hard. "We must not become what we fought." Back on Earth, Elias spoke to a gathering of human leaders. "Our silence was a weapon," he said, "but silence can also be a lesson." Rael added, "We have power now, but power without wisdom is danger." Meanwhile, on a Council refugee ship, a young officer named Lyra stared at the stars. "They thought silence meant weakness," she said quietly. "But it was strength." Her commander looked at her. "We have much to learn." The galaxy began to change. Old enemies sought peace. New alliances formed, and the memory of the silent war lingered like a shadow. One day, Elias stood beneath Earth's sky. A child ran past him, laughing. "Will they come again?" The child asked. Elias smiled. "Not if we remember what silence truly means." In a council hall far away, a leader declared, "We must rebuild not with fear, but with respect." The last message from Earth echoed through the galaxy. "We spoke in silence. Now listen." The war was over, but the story was just beginning.